It's time for a Shui Media podcast.
Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed in the show do not necessarily reflect those of Shui Media or any subsidiaries. The program may contain strong language not suitable for young audiences. Series discussions will contain spoilers. Listener discretion is advised. Enjoy the show! What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Dubterfuge. I'm Stella Luna.
And I'm Matt. How's it going?
So if you hear any like extraneous noise in the background, folks, I just have to make a quick disclaimer. It is extremely hot down here in Texas, as it, pretty much always is. But I'm currently house sitting for my parents at the moment, and really the only convenient place for me to organize my setup here to record is in my dad's studio. And it's basically, there's no air conditioning back here, so I have to keep the fans going at full speed, otherwise it will get very uncomfortable very quickly. So I do apologize for that. Unfortunately, otherwise I would have them off when we're recording, but I would rather not get heat stroke.
Blame her, in other words.
Yes. You can put the blame on me. Anyway. Alright, let's see. What show are we talking about today?
Well, we were going to discuss Erased, but then the news cycle made us sad, so we decided on Konohana Kitan. Or was it Citrus? It was something about a girl named Yuzu getting a new family. I can't remember.
In this case, it's a show about a rather foxy lady named Yuzu.
We're doing Konohana Kitan, if that wasn't obvious.
There will be probably far more fox puns from here on out, so another warning. Alright, Konohana Kitan is a 12-episode slice of life show from Studio Lurch, or Lershi, I'm not really sure how to pronounce it. Aired back in the fall of 2017, based on the manga by Sakuya Amano. And it's streamed on Crunchyroll and Funimation, respectively, in both sub and dub. Mostly we're going to be talking about the dub.
Which is adorable!
Which features the lovely Lindsay Seidel as our main character.
And just the cutest voice imaginable, can Yuzu read the phone book? Because that would I would fall asleep to that. It is just so cute.
So, a little bit of background on the show. It just basically takes place in a hot spring resort in the realm of yokai and other spirits. So, essentially, this entire resort primarily serves, other spiritual entities and, other, yokai and so forth, and so all the staff of this resort called Konohanate are basically all a form of a kitsune, or a fox spirit.
Yes.
And I don't know if humans actually ever show up in their realm.
They do.
There's
we see two of them.
Well,
in incorporeal form, but we still see
that's
them.
what I mean. That's what I mean. I mean, I don't think an alive human really crosses over to the yokai world. They mostly stay in what they call the apparent realm.
Now you're just combining shows.
No, I mean that's the translation.
Okay.
No, like I'm serious.
I know. I'm just. I don't know. I just felt like alluding to Kakuryou for a second.
Which we will talk about in a little bit, but because this think of this as kind of like a 2-for-1, so to speak. Let's see. So, a couple of things I really like about this show. Anybody who knows me probably knows that I am super into like Shinto mythology and yokai and the spirit world, and I'm like almost obsessed. It's really, really interesting to me. So any show that incorporates that, I'm pretty much down for. And I'm also really interested in the hot spring resorts, or the ryokan, which is like an old-fashioned hot spring resort. So when you combine those two, I'm very much on board.
Yes, and I just love really chill shows like this. It's not an Iyashikei, but it's close to it. The vibe is just really chill, a little bit of excitement here and there, but nothing like nerve-wracking or anything. And it's just, I remember when this was airing, it was like the show that I would watch to unwind from work. It just put me in that relaxed state.
Yeah, it's like somewhere like not quite moe. Like kind of somewhere in that realm, like somewhere in the realm of like cute girls doing cute things. Not quite like relaxed enough to be in Iyashikei, but definitely kind of in that realm of like kind of overall like a really charming, like cute atmosphere about the show. So like kind of in the moe territory, I would say. I don't know if it's like full on moe, but
no, it's not full on moe. The girls are not aware of how cute they are. There has to be self-awareness for it to be a full on moe. I'm just gonna call it a moashike and agree to disagree.
Yeah, feel free to fight us down in the comments. No, I'm joking. I can already hear everyone furiously typing at their keyboards.
Seriously, come at us, bros.
Well, come at him. He said it, not me.
We're a team here. Come on, tag in.
Hell no, I didn't say anything.
Some friend you are.
Hey man, you had the shovel, you're standing anyway.
What were we talking about again?
I have no idea. It's been a really long week. Actually, I just got back from Chicago.
Yes, we saw each other in like real people form.
Yes, we both exist IRL.
And confirmed it with each other.
No, it was a lot of fun. Very nice to be on vacation for a few days. Didn't quite escape the heat, but I mean, like 80-ish degrees is certainly a lot better than 100 something, which is what it was today.
Yeah, Chicago is freezing compared to Texas right now, and it is glorious.
I would say the only thing that got to me really was like the humidity.
Yes, being by the lake has its advantages and disadvantages. The disadvantage being humidity.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so I guess we'll just start talking about all the voice acting. Yeah, there was some. Overall, I thought this was a really great cast. I really liked hearing different sides of everyone's range. So, for example, like I'm really used to hearing Lindsay kind of doing a bit not like deep voices, but I'm used to hearing her as like Nagisa from Assassination Classroom, or in the new Kino's Journey, like kind of more like younger male voices,
teenage boys, pretty much.
Either whether it be like, you know, teenage or kids or something along those lines. And I'm used to hearing Dawn Bennett as more as like, well, Frosh, which is like this cute, high, squeaky kind of voice. And Anime Gatari, which is like a little bit more higher pitched kind of moe voice. But in this show, she's actually in her lower range, which sounds really great.
Yeah, she sounds tough as nails in her lower range. It's honestly like a stark contrast to Frosh. In a good way.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, Lindsay Seidel as Yuzu, she has a bit more lately, but for a while she was mostly, like you said, just boy voices, so it was really refreshing to hear her in a different range. But yeah, Dawn didn't surprise me because I watched her in Seven Mortal Sins, and that is just like her voice is just butch in that show. There's no other way to describe it.
Yeah, sure, we'll go with that.
Says the one who never watched Seven Mortal Sins.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. But anyway, moving on. Actually, a really nice surprise to hear that I haven't really heard in a while, but Kate Oxley, who you may know from, she was the lead in Peach Girl, Momo Adachi. She was also in Akane Tsunemori in Psycho-Pass, and the lead inspector in Darker Than Black. Completely blanking on that character's name off the top of my head. But
never seen it. Couldn't help you.
Oh, we'll fix that very soon. Anyway, yeah, she plays Ren, who both her and Natsume I really, really like.
Yeah, Emily Fajardo plays Natsume, and she's just the gung-ho type. Like, she's cool and up and like basically up for anything. And she's played by Emily Fajardo, who honestly I've mostly only heard in sort of deeper ranges, like here, like in Konohana here, and then she's in Chio's School Road right now, and it's very similar range or close range.
Yeah, she's, I think, fairly like newcomer to Funimation, but I really like what I hear so far.
Oh yeah, she's great.
And yeah, Natsume is pretty much like the rough and tumble kind of tomboy archetype. I mean, I actually really like that archetype. I mean, there's definitely a pattern, like obviously like Sailor Jupiter, tomboy archetype.
Brown hair, it's all connected.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's the Illuminanime.
Nah. I really like Ren a lot. And I really like the progression of her and Natsume's relationship. There's like one episode in particular, I think it's the ghost episode, or like it's like where they think I think like the power goes out in Konohanate, and then they try to tell all these spooky stories and etc. But I really like that episode a lot. I really like, there's a couple moments with Ren and Natsume, and I think it really tries to go a little bit deeper into their relationship and Ren's feelings towards Natsume. And I really appreciated that because it made them seem very genuine, in my opinion.
I agree. One character that I really liked, Morgan Garrett's character, the young master Kiri. I loved how she was just the Zen mom type, where she looked after them all but wasn't overbearing or anything, and just sort of let them do what they want unless they stepped out of line. It was just, there was something Zen about the way about how she acted that I got drawn to.
I like her dichotomy. I like that she kind of comes across as either really strict or really laid back, depending on like which employee she happens to be dealing with.
But regardless of who she's dealing with, she is the most calm character in the show, always cool as a cucumber, whether she's praising or disciplining or helping someone out. She is just like always calm, which for a show that's supposed to be people about relaxing in a hotel, that's a good thing.
Yeah, she's definitely very emotionally intelligent. I think she's very good at reading people. Which is probably a good trait if you're going to be like the manager of like, you know, a hospitality like type position.
Yeah, and her death stare is the sweetest, most terrifying thing I've ever seen.
Oh, it's absolutely brilliant. It's hilarious.
I love it.
Another character I really, really, really like is Okiku. She's voiced by Sarah Widenhaft. She's basically like a Tsugomogami, somewhat of like a cursed. Basically, she's like a cursed porcelain doll, brought in for like basically like purification. And when she's brought in, she is dressed in like very like traditional Japanese clothing, and then later they style her into a more Western style maid outfit, much to her chagrin at first. You mostly see her kind of like riding around on this little like
pig bunny thing.
Yeah, I think it's like a boltall. I'm not really sure. But it's really cute. It's really funny.
The little pig she's riding around on is named Urinosuke, and he hatched from an egg. And there was a whole episode about it because Ren just woke up one morning and it was attached to her, like someone crazy glued it to her stomach, and she thought she was pregnant, and it was a whole hilarious thing.
Hashtag anime.
Yes. Hashtag that's not how you get pregnant.
Anywhoozles. And then we have the owner of the inn, Okami, which basically just means manager. And I think her real name is actually Subaki. And I think she's the only one that doesn't have a human appearance.
Oh no,
like,
she does.
She's primarily like she can look human if she applies like makeup / magic. But for the most part, she remains in her fox form.
Yes. She's basically the grandma of the show. Like everyone everyone respects her and listens to her, but at the same time she's pretty much a background character except for a few special occasions.
Yeah. I really liked her, and I liked her voice actor a lot.
That was Linda Leonard. She's done a lot of elderly characters in various anime.
Yeah.
The one episode that I really liked was we talked a little bit about about humans coming into the realm, or in this case, what appear to be humans. And there was this one episode where it was a girl, her father, and a dog taking the form of a boy, and they were sort of drifting in and out, and you have to sort of like put the pieces together to figure out exactly how they're connected and what happened, and how they're related, and it is just a beautiful sequence.
Full disclosure, this episode got me.
Yeah, me too.
This very much got me. It was like, oh.
it involves a happy family moment for a puppy.
Yeah, no,
so
it's very much like a, yeah.
So if you like puppies, just watch that episode alone, and you will be just a puddle on the floor.
Yeah, no, it's very much like a happy, like heartwarming ending. But yeah, it just gave me all the feels because like I have a dog and he's like the best thing in the entire world. And like my dog's kind of similar to the puppy in this episode. Like he's got like a very similar coloring and like similar kind of like floppy ears. So it's just like, oh.
Yeah. The cool thing about the dog is, since it was sort of going in and out of the spirit realm, it appeared to them as a young little human boy, and you could tell by just what he was saying and his memories that it wasn't like there was something that we were clearly missing and not being told. And then you learn at the end that he's actually a dog and is a seeing eye dog even, and it's just a really great piece of storytelling in the end. The dog was played by Alison Victorin, who just nailed this, just because she was basically coming in with, like, you just have to be completely confident but have no idea what you're doing, which is anime voice acting in a lot of cases, but it's rare for the character to have to be that.
Yeah, for sure.
And I also, in the same episode, really liked the castaway girl that Yuzu finds on the beach. Her name's Rei.
Yeah, that was really interesting.
Yeah, I honestly liked how she sort of opened up Yuzu's eyes to there's more to life than working. You could travel and have fun. I mean, I think Yuzu's happy where she is right now, but just the eye-opening bit of it. That she was played by Macy Johnson, who is currently in Magical Girl Racing Project. She's one of the very new people at Funimation, and honestly, I like her stuff.
Yeah, no, and that's another show that I want to talk about at some point when it's all said and done.
When the dust settles.
Because I actually watched it back when it was airing, or back when it was simulcasting a little bit. I only got about, part of the way through, but oh man, does it go places.
Yeah,
It goes places.
I'm watching the dub, so only a few episodes in, but I can tell that this is... My heart is in the roller coaster car, and it's just waiting to reach the top and plummet.
Yeah, and apparently it's this is a whole series, or it's based on a whole series, and I want to find the other ones too, the ones that are kind of connected.
Yes. The one other episode I wanted to mention is the one, episode 5, where they have a guest who's just doing nothing but weaving on this loom, and they have to sort of... I love
this episode.
Yes, they have to sort of basically make sure she doesn't starve to death since she's only weaving. That's the only thing she's focused on. So they bring her food, they have to bring her food and tend to her and stuff. And in the end, and what sort of drew me here was it has a rhythm to it, not just because there was the rain and then there was the sound of the loom and that sort of combination. In a way, you could sort of feel it throughout the whole episode, even if they weren't in the room with her. It sort of never went away, which I kind of liked. I thought that was interesting.
What I really liked about it is okay, so I feel okay, so as one of these sort of standalone vignette type things, I really like Yuzu's interactions with this obsessive weaver. Like just such a stark contrast in personalities. Like Yuzu is very outgoing, very chipper, and this Weaver is very like quiet and focused and like very determined. And so I really liked how you have this sort of it's almost like hypnotic in a way.
Yes.
Like you have like the rhythm of her apparatus.
And then there's the constant
the
sound of the
loom.
rain in the background.
Yeah, it's like there's like rain pouring and it's like, and then you hear like the of like the loom that she's working with, and then you hear like Yuzu's little like squeaks and so forth, and then like and then they'll maybe like interchange it with like swapping out like her tea or something like that. It just kind of ends up being sort of like this really cool sounding, almost like a symphony.
Yeah, there was nothing intentional, and it was completely mundane, but all the interactions were completely rhythmic. Almost, I guess you could call them like aleatoric in a way, but there was method to the madness there that really set that scene apart.
Yeah, for sure.
And then they go frolic in the field as the Weaver girl unfurls the rainbow cloth that she had been weaving the whole time, and then that was a fun little conclusion.
Yeah, that I really like. It's just such a like, what I want to say. It's such like a gentle resolution. But then like with, when they show like the full, I guess, spectrum of the cloth that she's weaving. It's just really cool. To me, it's just like, what I want to say. I don't know. It really demonstrates this like kind of like subtle mastery, like of like storytelling throughout the show.
Yes.
Of like kind of combining this like sort of spiritual, like otherworldly, like feel with like pretty much like the mundaneness of like slice of life.
Yeah, and you mentioned how they were most vignettes most of the time, but obviously they connected because new characters carried over. But that's another part of the thing that sort of helped give the show a calm vibe. Like, no matter what the tension, like how much tension there was in an episode, it was a this too shall pass sort of feeling that came with it. Like there wasn't nothing carried over to no nerves carried over till next week, and then it's like there wasn't anything suspenseful about it, which it was you could come in and leave peacefully kind of thing. That makes it sound like they're dying, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess let's just really quick talk about the last episode.
Yes.
And then I think we'll go into like our overall recommendations and thoughts and so forth.
Definitely.
I really like the last couple episodes. It kind of has this sort of like time travel element to it, which I found really, really cool. So essentially, okay, so you can't. I don't think you can really talk about the spiritual realm without talking about the new year, which is essentially like what this episode does.
Yes.
So essentially, like it talks about basically the girls going to the shrine, like the main shrine, to basically like ring in the new year. And in clumsy Yuzu fashion, she drops a scroll that she finds like while like cleaning out the Konohana-te. And
cleaning the attic or something.
Yeah, something along those lines. And of course, it has to like roll away from her, and she has to chase after it. Unfortunately, she chases it so far, she, like, leaps through time.
Okay, look, I just need to say something about that, because that was the second time that she almost passed over to the other side. And,
in a matter of speaking.
Yeah, because there was another one where she was following the spirits, and they said, yeah, we're going back to where the dead reside or whatever. And I just thought, like, the seamlessness in which she went from her realm to almost the land of the dead was just... There's a little too much danger there with how easily she was able to do it. I mean, in theory, it could have happened to anyone, and it just sort of threw me at how weird that was.
Yeah, it's kind of almost becomes somewhat of like a stale kind of trope at this point. It's like, oh, okay, like, what is she gonna accidentally do now? Oh, she's gonna stumble back in time, or stumble almost into the afterlife. My goodness, Yuzu.
Hey everyone, this is Tim from Shui Media, and I am here to tell you about our 2018-2019 roster of shows. As usual, Brews and the Boys is back again with Michael Sizemore and Tom Ryle, giving you an in-depth discussion every single week about America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. And speaking of America, the most American show in America, America, the podcast, is back again for Season 3 with host Thebadias A. Stard, the embodiment of and only hope for America, here to make sense of America every 2 weeks by yelling his important words directly into your ear holes. Next up, the Schwegcast is back again with more discussions in songwriting and the music industry with the schweeziest of the schweezy, Sam Schwegler. And now, on to our new Schway shows. This fall, we have Dubterfuge with Pod Team Epic, hosted by Stella Luna and Matt Voss, two passionate weebs talking about their favorite animes and everything new in the world of dubs. Then, in 2019, we have Space Adventure, hosted by a guy who goes by Luke. You see, Luke came to us a few months back claiming that he had found a flight recorder of sorts containing several years' worth of audio. But the thing is, he claims that audio is of a crew of a spaceship from 500 years in the future. Now, we can't confirm the authenticity of these recordings, which is why we need your help. So, when winter 2019 rolls around, be sure to check out the premiere of Space Adventure. We want to thank each and every one of you who tune in every single week and make Shui Media happen. If you haven't already, maybe subscribe and leave us a review in iTunes, because it goes a long way in helping our placement. And don't forget to visit shwaymedia.com, that's SHWAYMEDIA.com, for more info, updates, and a new show every week. And now, back to the show.
It's just amazing how much of a razor-thin line this spirit world is on, because one stumble out of place at a festival and you could either almost die or go back in time somewhere.
Yeah. However, I think I can forgive this, at least in this instance, when we get to kind of like the heart of this episode, which is like Yuzu's excellent adventure, or Yuzu, like, Back to the Future, Back to the Past, Back to the whatever.
Back to the Past,
Yuzu,
Samurai Yuzu.
Yuzu that leapt through time. Basically,
how
she
many time puns
upon...
can we make? Hold on. Back to the Past, Samurai Yuzu, the Yuzu that leapt through time, Yuzu's excellent adventure. How many more movies and shows can we rip off?
Let's see. The Curious Case of Yuzu Button.
Yes.
That was awful.
Yeah, it was.
that was just awful. I'm so sorry.
Throw it with the rest of the trash we just listed.
Pretty much. Okay, so basically she stumbles upon the Kenzelkul, which is essentially this, like, kind of like the spiritual headquarters, so to speak, where a number of other, like, fox spirits are working very diligently to like read and grant and file all of these like wishes that people like that the humans back in the human world, like in our world, have made just in time for the new year. So they have to make sure that all these wishes get like accounted for before the new year starts.
I basically associated it with like it's the yokai equivalent of the mailroom and accounting and sorting office at Santa's workshop.
Yeah, pretty much. Let's see. So basically, there's like this enormous, like endless stack of like little talismans with all the different wishes on it, and everything's just like completely in like disorganized chaos. And Yuzu, being Yuzu, offers her help basically. Because like what else is she gonna do? She's pretty much like stuck where she is for the time being. This is kind of like I don't want to say like deep dive, but we get pretty into the heart, I think, of Japanese mythology here.
Yeah, I had to look a couple of things up to figure out exactly what this was because, like I said, I thought it was like Santa's workshop, basically.
Yeah, the only reason I had a little bit more familiarity with it, and by a little bit I mean like a very little bit, was there's like a similar scene in Kami-sama Kiss or Kami-sama Hajimemashita, where they go to Izumo and Nanami also has to like kind of help with all the wish granting for the new year, and then they go visit the year god to basically like basically deliver all the rest of the wishes. So, and they kind of explain like what that's all about in that series. So that's really the only background I had on it.
I completely forgot about that episode because it's been a couple of years since I've seen Kami-sama Kiss. Great show though, but it's been a few years.
Definitely want to talk about that as well. That's a really great show. Also one of my all-time favorite mangas. Anywho, so amidst all this like wish granting, Yuzu is kind of in a bit of a sticky wicket in the sense that she may never be able to get back to where she needs. Like she may never be able to go back to Konohamachi. Just because of like the space-time continuum and so forth.
Yes.
Until they actually figure out to open the scroll that Yuzu dropped in the beginning.
Yeah, that's basically what I was like trying to like scream at this, tell them through the screen the whole time, like you were literally holding the Deus Ex Machina in your hand, or the plot convenience device in your hand. Open it and all will be right. But no, they had to draw it out.
But then when she opens it and reads it and like sees the message that the what is her name? The other fox girl. Like one of the Kenzoku staff like adds something to it along with all the other staff from Konohamachi.
Oh yeah, it was let her come home. It was basically their prayer to let Yuzu return home safely.
Yeah. That brought a little tear to my eye. I thought that was really sweet.
Right, because it meant that Yuzu really does have people who care about her in a place to return to. It's not, and they were concerned about her not just because, oh great, our boss is going to be pissed if an employee goes AWOL under our watch, but it was like, No, they're friends, and they love her and care for her and want her to be safe and sound at home with them.
Yeah, oh, and then when it said that, like, Satsuki, how, like, Satsuki felt towards Yuzu, and I literally just went, aha!
Really?
Like, yes!
It was sort of obvious, because she's the cool, aloof type, that she cared for everyone, because if she didn't care for Yuzu, she would do just enough to make sure that her own ass didn't get hammered, but would probably throw Yuzu under the bus if she didn't care for her.
No, I know, like, I just liked that it was, like, finally, like, solidified, and, like, she actually, like, admits it, you know? I thought that was really sweet.
Yeah.
Because I love them, I ship the crap out of them. Like, OTP.
One more character that I just want to touch on briefly is the sort of dark horse in the show among the main cast, Sakura, who is the quiet.
She barely talks.
The quiet type and the evil type too, since she's hell-bent on cutting Okiku's hair for whatever reason. Like, she will... Don't run with scissors, kids. Sakura is a terrible example.
Yeah, she's voiced by... Very, very softly voiced by Jade Saxon.
Who is also the ADR director of the show. But yes, she's cute and hilarious, and just doesn't really seem to have like a censor bar. She will just do whatever she wants, basically, as long as her chores get done.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt like she was so underutilized.
Yeah, they could have done a whole lot more with her, but I guess honestly, at first, until she like said something a couple episodes later, I thought she was supposed to be nonverbal.
Yeah, same. But I saw that they had like a cast listing for her, you know, in both the sub and the dub. So I was like, well, obviously she's got to say something.
Right, but even with that, I'm thinking like she might make grunts or some kind of like sound effect or something, and still might not actually speak. So I thought that was the only reason that she was in the cast list, just based on her initial behavior. It was... And then you sort of warm up to her and just see how crazy she is.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so kind of going into our conclusion here. What do I want to say? I think I watched the show about 3 times overall. I was pretty lukewarm on it first go around. Warmed up to it a little bit on the second. By the third, I absolutely adore it.
I watched it twice. Once while the dub was airing, and then again to remind myself what happened so we could record this episode.
Yeah.
And my love for it softened a little the second time, just because I could see it all like together in perspective when when binging it, as opposed to seeing it weekly. But it's still just it kept the same vibe that initially drew me to it, which is just cute girls doing cute things and just the really borderline Iyashikei relaxed setting that I just needed at the time when it was airing. Just stresses and stuff just melted away whenever I'd come home and it was on and it was uploaded that day. And yeah, it's a show that you should watch slowly, I think, instead of binging it. It's It's definitely enjoyed in small doses, as opposed to just cute overload if you binge it. But yeah.
It's definitely like, I would consider it like, okay, so like some people have like these like emotional comfort animals. This is like an emotional comfort show.
Pretty much, yeah. It lets you fawn on cute little animal girls and relax and just feel relaxed just talking about it now.
I think this definitely stands out as a really like well executed show. I think it's definitely well worth watching. I give it like a 3.5 out of 5. Pretty like decent recommendation, I think, especially if you're a fan of like slice of life, cute girls doing cute things, cute fox girls doing cute fox girl things, Shinto mythology, sprinkles of yuri and the whatnot,
Or just yokai in general. I would probably give this, I would go higher. I would go maybe 4.5, I think, because it did it for me, but it's not quite me wanting to preach gospel about it.
yeah.
So yeah, I'd say 4.5. Definitely. I'm definitely gonna buy it once it comes up for pre-order.
I think for me, I think streaming is just fine. I'm not really in a rush to purchase it, but that's just me. Basically, like, if you're a huge fan, go ahead and buy it. If you're curious, go ahead and stream it. Crunchyroll, Funimation, pick whichever language is your preference and enjoy.
Yeah.
Alternate recommendations would be the next show that we're going to briefly touch on. Kakuryou Spirit Bed and Breakfast, which is currently airing right now.
Yes, it's a 2-cour show. I'm not sure if it's 24 or 26, but
I believe it's 26.
Sweet. Very great, very good show. It's way more story driven than Konohana, but the story is incredible. The characters are incredible. You see they have these great arcs to them that are just realistic and understandable and satisfying.
It's definitely more geared, I think, towards like a josei demographic, which is basically anime aimed at like young adult women. I mean, like, anyone can watch it, but that just happens to be like the demographic. But basically, it's about this human girl who ends up in the yokai world, working at this another ryokan, or like a resort for spirits and so forth. But I think humans can also obviously can go back and forth because she happens to be there. And the reason for this is because her nefarious grandfather got them into debt, to which he used his granddaughter as like a bargaining tool to the master of the Tenjinya, which is the name of the bed and breakfast. Basically offered his daughter like hand in marriage, so almost like the dad in Ranma half, where it's like kind of just uses his kid as like a marriage bargaining tool when he can't pay his debts.
They literally say that Aoi is collateral for the debt, and honestly, you sort of see just how strong she is, like in the first episode alone, where she's like saying, "Oh hell no, I'm making my own decisions. I'll pay it off. Give me a restaurant and I can pay it off."
Yeah, basically, instead of marrying this guy, she decides, no, I'm gonna get a job here and I'm gonna work off this debt and you can't stop me. And I love it. And I love, like, there's so many moments throughout the show, too, where, like, it could very easily go in this very typical shoujo romance, like, route, you know, where, like, the guy says something really suave, and then the girl looks at him with, you know, like, googly eyes, and then the background goes all sparkly, and there's, like, flowers twirling in the background, and fanciful music plays, and all this stuff, and then there's, like, this cutesy inner monologue, and blah, 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 and instead, she just, like, snaps her fingers, and is just like, no way.
At the same time, though,
And I
it's
love it.
slowly, like,
Oh yeah, like, there's
moving towards
definitely...
that direction. Like, you can definitely see that she, and she appreciates the master's help way more, and you can tell that there's definitely a little bit of chemistry, since she's saying about how just safe and relaxed and how she feels that way around him. So
Yeah,
it's
for sure.
definitely going in a romantic direction, but it's taking the scenic route, basically, and it's in no rush to affirm anything, pretty much.
Yeah, like, it's not entirely, yeah, I mean, like, there's definitely, like, a relationship happening between them, but it's not to the point where, you know, like, it's definitely going, I think, at a much more realistic pace, and I think, and I think it's going at a pace that's truer to the characters.
Mm-hmm.
And you can definitely tell, like, you know, Aoi is still very much, like, a strong, like, free-thinking woman. She very much sticks to her guns. She's not gonna, like, you know, cave to this, like, handsome bed and breakfast owner's, like, whim just because he's super hot. You know, she's gonna stand her ground, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, she's not gonna like let anything go just because there's a man in her life now. She is completely a strong, independent woman.
And I really like that. It definitely, like, it definitely ticks off the boxes in, like, what I look for in an anime romance, or in, like, a romance anime. And it's definitely, like, do either of the characters, like, have their convictions? Like, do they have other goals and aspirations outside of just wanting to be in love with each other? And this definitely ticks that box. Like, Aoi doesn't just exist solely to marry this, like, spirit guy. Like, no, she wants to, like, help out her family, help out herself, and also just make food for the guests that they enjoy. By the way, the food in this show, it looks amazing, and I want to try to make all of it and eat all of it.
I think Crunchyroll's doing some, like, trying some of the recipes, but yeah, it doubles as a food anime for anyone who likes food porn. Do not watch this on an empty stomach. It will just hurt if you do. Not make you angry, but just hurt.
Like, you will want to eat everything. I think if I had any slight complaints, it's just, I just wish the show was just animated a little bit better. It just kind of needs, like, a little bit of, like, a scrub. Like, you know, maybe, like, add, like, you know, like, a shine, or, like, you know, a wax buffer to it. Just kind of give it a little bit more sparkle. I think that's, like, my only complaint. But it is simuldubs, like, or it is simulcast season. Perhaps for the Blu-ray, some of the, maybe it'll get touched up by then. But other than that, it's a pretty solid show.
I thought about that. Like, yeah, there are parts where it could pop more, but at the same time, it completely works in the way it is. Like, it's not, the art isn't trying to draw attention to itself, and that's sort of what I like about it. It doesn't need anything touched up or flashy, because it's still very nice animation and art. Like, it's a little
not so
more
much like the flashiness necessarily. I just wish, I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain. I just wish there was more consistency I wish the characters, like the character designs, looked consistently nice. And there weren't as many, like blowouts with the lines or like certain like things kind of going slightly off model, but a lot of those things kind of happen.
Yeah,
with like seasonal anime.
If you look closely, there are definitely some slip-ups in terms of the art and animation. Like, there was one scene back several episodes ago where basically Aoi just, like, puts a plate down in front of someone, and the camera sort of pans, like, looks up to her from the floor, sort of like at her 2 o'clock, I guess. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. And she has, like, maybe 5 or 6 syllables worth of lines, and her mouth stays open for the entire thing. And it's like, that's the only thing that seems to even be animated in that scene, where it's just, like, you can tell that, like, the rest of it is supposed to look like background, including Aoi's body itself, which just, it just looked weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then to touch on the dub, of course, Aoi is played by Emily Neves, who I adore.
Me as well. You will hear us sing her praises a lot in this podcast. We both love her.
Yeah, she's really sweet. She's a great person. She's a terrific actor. I really enjoy her work a lot.
Not only is this show written, or not only is this show spoiled it. Not only is this show have Emily as the lead, she's also the writing the script for the show. So she's wearing 2 hats that really just work well together.
I'm always happy to have her and be involved with the show, either writing or acting. In this case, both, which is like a nice little bonus. And then I believe Christopher Wakehamp. My sincerest apologies if I butcher anyone's name from here on out. He plays the master of the Tenjinya. I'm really enjoying his performance. I think their performance, like the chemistry between the performances of him and Emily, I think work really well. I think they play off each other really well.
Definitely.
And then pretty much all the other voices as well. I think everything is, or everyone, I think, plays their character very well.
Yeah. One thing I sort of just was thinking about is how, like, how Emily and Chris's on-screen chemistry is sort of coinciding with Aoi and the Master's chemistry and compatibility as the show progresses. Like, since the show's been airing for a while, so they've had a time to get a feel for each other in the booth. That sounded dirty. And so, yeah, it's sort of interesting parallels there.
Yeah, for sure. And this is also a Jade Saxton directed show, so...
Yes.
Everything comes full circle. But yeah, I highly recommend this show. I can't really say enough good things about it. I definitely want to purchase it when it is available to do so. It's one of the few shows where you actually have like a fairly like healthy representation of like a romance between 2 people. I haven't really seen that since I think like Snow White with the Red Hair, which also ticks all my boxes. And again, it's romance, it's yokai, it's the spirit world, it's really yummy looking food. So it very much ticks a lot of my boxes for sure. I very much give it like a 4 out of 5.
I was thinking about this, and not to throw a meme wrench into your plan here, but how do we know that this isn't Stockholm Syndrome?
Explain.
I mean, Aoi was basically kidnapped, and
No,
why didn't she
because
just go back? Why didn't she just go back to the parent realm? And
because she had to pay her debt.
right, but she could have just like figured out an installment plan instead of actually working there and then falling in love with the person she's supposed to be.
Yeah, but her
working
installment, her installment plan, her like barter is that she works there. Because the other option was that she get married, and she said no, she's gonna do it her way. So this is very much not Stockholm. She's not kidnapped. She chose to stay there. And she was very adamant about it.
You have a point there. Still, it's crossed my mind on one or two occasions.
No, trust me, I don't think it's that type of show whatsoever.
You're the psych expert, I'll believe you.
I'm not an expert, but I do know a little bit. Alright, I think we're just about done here. Do we have any other concluding thoughts or anything?
Yokai shows are a lot of fun and getting better, and Emily Neves is amazing.
Yes, please cast her in more things. I really like her a lot.
Cast her in all the things.
Also, please have her direct, like, more shows. Because she's also a fantastic director.
Yes.
Put her in all the things, because she's great.
This statement not paid for or endorsed by Emily Neves.
So, I think this overall concludes this episode. Where can the people find us?
You can find me on Twitter at Matthew H. Voss, and the Instagram I never use at Vomahanu.
You can find me on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, pretty much all the social media is at Shterra, Shterrra. I'm probably on Twitter the most. I think that's where most of the action happens. And you can follow the show as well on Twitter at Dubterfuge.
Yes.
So, thank you so much for listening. Links will be down in the descriptions for both of the shows mentioned, and any other any other information that we provide. Again, not entirely sure what show we're doing next, and also there may or may not be some more surprises in store for the show as the year goes on. So
we actually have plans now for what some of the stuff we want to do, so we will be enacting those.
Yes, definitely keep an eye out on our Twitter for details.
Wahahaha.
Evil laughter.
We should probably close it out now since we have no idea. Yep, done. Bye.
And that's our show. New episodes drop every 2 weeks on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Central Time on YouTube. The show is available for download on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, Podcast Addict, and Stitcher. Follow us on Twitter at Dubterfuge for more updates. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Now this is podcasting.